I'm Sam Worcester and I'm a project officer at the Inner Northern Local Learning and Employment Network. Today I'm sitting with Jessica Tulsma. How's it going?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. I guess we'll get started. Did you want to tell people listening just a little bit about your current business and how long you've had it and what you specialise in?
Sure. So I own Jessie Cakes, which is a cake shop in Brunswick on Sydney Road. I started it from scratch about 9 years ago, a little bit over 9 years ago. So everything from the logo to the whole sort of look of the store to our product lines, I developed myself. So that was a really exciting time when I first started it. And we make custom designed special occasion cakes for every occasion. So we don't have a ready-made range at all. Everything that we make is one-off, made to order.
Right, so everything's custom.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we have a range that people can select from, but then when we make it just for that person.
Right.
So we do have a range that can be chosen, but when we make them, they're not sitting there waiting to be bought. They are made specifically for each individual order.
Oh, that's fantastic. And you've had that for 10 years now. Is there a specific cake that you're known for, or that's really, that you specialise in?
Almost, yeah. So we did it cut out.
Yeah, we had some. I don't know if it's me or you, but that's okay. I've got you now.
That's all right.
Yeah.
So, okay, good. We're back. So we make really delicious mud cakes that have got really great texture, and some people have had previous interesting or bad experiences with mud cakes. They either think that they're only chocolate or that they have that strange kind of thick mouth feel. But the ones that we make are really much lighter. We offer fruity flavours, caramels, lemons, that sort of thing. And then I guess it's about the decoration as well. So it's not just about one or the other. It's not a really beautifully decorated cake that doesn't have the right taste or texture. It's both, and I guess that's what we're known for. But we're also known for our service as well. So the clients and customers that we have get a really good experience. That's really important to me, from the time that they inquire to when their order's placed to when we give them their cake. And because they're all occasions, adding something more that's more special to their special occasions is, I guess, what it's about.
Yeah, no, that's great. Thinking back to when you're in secondary school and thinking about Jessie Cakes, were your interests in high school aligned with your current business, or early on? How did that eventuate when you were younger?
Yeah. So when I was younger, my main interests were talking. Firstly, that was my first love. But I also really loved cooking, and I loved cooking for people too. So my friends, family, anybody, having people over, cooking meals, that show Ready Steady Cook, where they used to give you the certain food items and you would make something up. I really enjoyed doing that sort of thing. So being creative with cooking was definitely a big passion of mine. So definitely I would say that my earlier interests did have something to do with the path that I took and starting my own business. But it wasn't, I'd never thought I want to make cakes when I grow up. I never had that thought. But, I guess everything leads to where you are, I guess, supposed to be at the time.
Yeah. Where do you think you got that interest from? Do you think was it a family member, or was it at school doing home economics? I don't know if you did that or not. I
did home economics. Yeah. I sure did. I did home economics. I think that my mum's a really good cook. So I think that I used to, really enjoy, I guess, food and flavors. It's something that I've always been really into. I think about what I'm going to eat for my next meal while I'm eating my current meal. I've always been like that. I'm a big foodie. So, I guess it would have come a bit from my mum, I would say. She's a good cook. But, yeah, it was just something, I guess, that I've always been really into.
Yeah. I guess some people in secondary school might become a pastry chef and do an apprenticeship. Did you do anything? Did you do that? Or what path did you take?
So I did home economics when I was at school, and then I started a enterprise management hospitality diploma, I guess, at TAFE when I first left school. But I was only 17 and a half when I first left school. I didn't really know exactly what direction I wanted to take, but I knew that I had always liked cooking, and so that's why I decided to do that course. But after sort of, I guess, the first 6 months, I thought that's not really where I want to be at this time. So I deferred in case I ever wanted to go back. You should always, leave your doors open if you can. It's, if you can leave some doors open, do it. And then I started working full time. So I sort of went on a different path. I did lots of different things for a little while, but, I guess as you get older, your interests change, and and you should adapt to when your interests change, because thinking that something has to be a certain way and that you're stuck anywhere, it's just not the case anymore. You don't have to, if you follow your interests, then you'll get way more passionate out of what you're doing.
And so what other jobs did you find yourself in after that time from secondary school?
So I found so I was always really sporty during high school. So I thought I would get into, is my internet doing it again? I think it might be mine. Are we back?
You're back, yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah.
So I always loved sports. So I started working in fitness centres and doing lots of sort of, I guess, reception and administration roles in a couple of different gyms. I thought maybe I wanted to be a personal trainer, so I thought I'll go in at an admin level and see what it's like. I think it's about trying different industries. That was really my strategy. If I thought to myself, I wonder how that would be, just start somewhere at a kind of entry level and see what you think about it. You never know until you try. And then I got into real estate. I was in real estate for quite a lot of years. Same things, reception, administration, those sorts of roles. Really enjoyed real estate.
Yeah.
And then it was about that time that I thought I really enjoyed sort of health and home economics and those sorts of subjects at school. I also really enjoyed psychology, and I was tossing up about doing some more education. And so I went back and did a health science degree in my mid-20s. Because you can study at any time in your life. I mean, my dad, for example, did a doctorate in his 40s. So, it doesn't matter, when you do it, if you do it, how you do it, it all sort of, it's the same thing. So, diploma of education, and then I taught health and home economics for about 18 months.
Great. So did you do an undergrad, and did you do a teaching degree, or did you?
Yes. A diploma in education. For secondary. That's right. So it was 4 years in total, 3 years of the undergraduate that was health science, and a year of the diploma of education. And while I was studying to become a teacher is when I got a random sort of casual job at a cake shop through a friend of mine.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And she said, we're super busy at work. Do you want to come and make some cakes? And I said, I've never made, I make a really mean brownie, but I've never professionally made cakes before. And she said, just come, we'll teach you. You'll just get better as you go along. And I worked there for about, I guess, 3 years, almost the whole time I was at uni, and loved it, really, really loved it. So it was, one of the best jobs. It didn't feel like a job. It just felt like I went to work with some friends and we made some cakes and had a really good time. And there was something really satisfying and creative about it, and I loved it. Yeah.
And then so you're undertaking your teaching diploma, and then you're working in the cake shop.
Yeah.
And then you're working in a school. How long were you in a school? And then where did you go next?
Yes. So I was in a school. I was in a school for 18 months.
Yeah.
And I found it really, really challenging. I found teaching really challenging.
Mm-hmm.
I realised that I I think I was way too laid back, but also I was a little bit of a pushover too in terms of my personality. I hadn't really worked on what's even the word? I hadn't really worked on sort of assertiveness or sort of authority or, those sorts of things, even conflict resolution. I wasn't great at those things. And I think that when you're a teacher, you need some of those skills when you come across challenging students. And I just didn't have those skills yet. So I found teaching really challenging.
And
while I was teaching, Sorry, what were you going to say?
Sorry, there's a bit of a delay. I was going to ask you, where did you go next after teaching?
Yes, so then one day I made an off-the-cuff comment, I should start my own cake shop. And then 3 months later, I'd resigned, found a shop, fitted out and started a cake shop.
That's amazing. So you've gone from secondary school having an interest in cooking and then going into some other administration roles and then across several industries, then into real estate. We went and some fitness as well. And then we've gone into teaching and then you've come back to the cooking. So you've come full circle.
Full circle. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. What were some of the challenges over the years going between industries or, some of the lessons that you learnt along the way across those jobs?
Okay. So I think that lots of these skills that I learnt doing reception, administration and customer service based roles are really valuable transferable skills. And it's something that I'm really grateful and appreciative for, that I chose a career almost accidentally, but a path that gave me a lot of different skills that were so transferable across industries. So whenever I moved, say fitness, where I loved all my gym members and they knew me and we had a really great relationship. And if their membership was almost up and I'd say, I'll give you a deal for your new membership. And it wasn't even like sales, or because we had more of a sort of really nice friendship relationship with each other. And then transferring that across to real estate and really getting along with the clients there. It was, as I keep mentioning, like these transferable skills, I found it so much easier to transition between different industries as a result.
Instead of just being,
So I guess you have to.
So
that's exactly right. Yeah, that's right. So So it was really the only challenges, I guess, is getting used to your new work colleagues, I guess, and your new management and their styles of management and the way that, I guess, sometimes there's office politics and there's those sorts of things, and that differs from workplace to workplace. So I guess it was those adjustments that were sometimes trickier than my adjustment to the actual work. Yeah.
The unwritten laws of each different industry.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah.
Thinking back from where you are now to say secondary school, if you knew then what you know now, what would you do differently?
One of the biggest lessons that I've learned in my whole life, and this isn't just professionally, is not to be scared of conflict or slightly tricky conversations, just to try to remove the fear, because it always seems so much scarier and harder in your mind to either stick up for yourself or assert yourself or say something that needs to be said without fear of how someone else can take it or will take it, because that's out of your control. So all you can do is just be yourself. You know, if you don't like something, just simply say, I don't like that. You know, how can we work around so that we can both be happy with this situation? And that's personally and professionally. So I guess if I could sit down with my younger self, I think I would definitely say to that girl, don't be scared to say, you know, whatever it is that you're thinking or feeling in a really kind, polite way, because I think that kindness gets you a long way. As long as you say something, whatever it is, in a kind way, then it will be received, hopefully, in that way.
Yeah.
And then there can just be a conversation around it. There's nothing scary. Conflict doesn't have to be scary. It can just be a chat.
Yeah. Being brave to have difficult conversations is certainly a skill, I think.
I know, and I didn't learn it until very recently. So, you know, but it's something that definitely I got much better at. Having a business, I didn't have a complaints department, unfortunately. I didn't have a tricky client department that I could palm it off onto. It all stopped with me. So it was definitely something that I got better and better at as a result of having the business, for sure.
Yeah. No, that's great. And if you were to give advice to, say, a young person who has similar interests to you, or who's got similar interests and maybe wants to start a business, what advice would you give them specifically?
So some of the biggest joys that I've had from the business has been the fact that it's mine and I created it, and there's a real sense of pride that you can't really put into words from starting something like that. That is something that you really, really want to do. You have some flexibility in terms of how you want everything to work and how you yourself want to work. You don't have to answer to, or, you know, a really excellent sides of having a business. But some advice would be definitely to make sure that you have work-life balance. Sometimes having your own business, it comes with some stresses. So that flexibility that I talked about, that it can give you on one hand, can also give you, well, no, you have to work until 2 o'clock in the morning, bad luck, because this has happened or that's happened. So it can also give you excessive work hours and sort of stress out of hours as well. That is sometimes out of your control. But I think the biggest business lesson that I learnt is definitely your cost, your business costing. What is your business going to cost you in terms of outlay? What is it going to cost you to run? What decisions are you going to make that's going to mean that the 4% increase on your lease terms is going to then add up to be thousands and thousands of dollars extra per year that you don't think about when you first start. So I think it's working out what it's going to cost you, and because everything that it costs you decreases your potential profit. So that's money out of your pocket and money in somebody else's pocket, and more stress for you trying to put some extra money in your pocket. And if you just, you know, thought about compounding interest to start off with, then maybe you'd be in a better position in the long term, you know. So I think that we can't all know everything. You know, we don't start off knowing everything, and I hardly know anything now, but the things that I do know, you know, you learn along the way. So I think that things like interest, tax, you know, those sorts of things, that
all the fun things
you have to, you know, the fun things, the real fun things in life. So I think that it's about maybe getting some good advice from somebody who knows. And I think that the original contracts that I entered into when I started the shop weren't really in my best interests long term. So to have advice, seek advice about things that aren't your specialty. You know, we've all got things that we you know, that we specialize in, things that are in our knowledge, and then the things that are outside of your knowledge, don't be scared to seek advice and ask help and admit that you don't know it, really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, just to finish off, we sort of touched on what you might say earlier to a younger self, but if you were to give say another piece of advice to your 16-year-old self, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. I don't even know. Probably stop talking. Stop talking in class probably would have been something. I think that I was really interested in psychology, but I was a little bit scared that I was too sensitive to go down a career path like that. But I think that was probably a little bit short-sighted. So I guess a broad advice would be to just follow what your interests are.
Yep.
Because, you know, you never know where they're going to lead you, and there's lots of different, you know, career paths in psychology that aren't necessarily going to make me cry every day. So I shouldn't have probably ruled it out. So you don't need to rule anything out.
Yeah.
And I think also I don't know whether there's pressure when you're young, but I think I felt pressure to know what I wanted to be. Yeah. Or know what my career was going to look like and have all of the answers. But there's only such a small minority of people who seem to know what they want to do at that age. And everybody else, I guess my advice for you would just be, whatever you're interested in, try it, start somewhere entry level, give it a go, and just follow what your interests are, you know, on such a micro level. It doesn't have to be such a big picture thing. It can just be, what am I interested in at the moment? What career might be aligned with that interest? I'll go and check it out, you know. So I think take the pressure off, follow your interests would definitely be another one of my tips to my former self.
Thank you for your time.